On a brisk Chicago morning, the city bustled with its usual urgency. Cars honked, pedestrians hurried past, and the crisp air bit at exposed skin. Amid it all sat Jake, tucked into a corner on a busy street. His world distilled into a cardboard sign that read, "Hungry, please help." In the river of humanity flowing past, Jake felt like a stone, unmoving and unseen. Some people dropped coins without a word, others diverted their eyes, and a few offered a fleeting glance. The feeling of invisibility weighed heavily on his shoulders. Every day felt the same, blending into a monotony of cold hunger and the quiet ache of being overlooked. But one day, something shifted. A woman in a business suit, her stride confident, stopped beside Jake. Unlike the others, she looked directly at him, her gaze kind but searching. "I'll give you something," she said, her voice warm yet resolute. "But what can you give me back?" The question caught Jake off guard. His mind raced through possibilities, but nothing came. I have nothing," he stammered, unsure and embarrassed. The woman smiled gently. "Then start with what you can give, your smile." She handed him a $5 bill, her eyes twinkling, and walked away. That night, Jake lay awake on his thin blanket, the woman's words echoing in his mind. What can I give? He pondered the notion, turning it over and over, searching for meaning. The answer seemed so simple, yet profound. Maybe he had more to offer than he thought. The next morning, with the woman's words guiding him, Jake walked to a discount store and used part of the money to buy a box of cheap coffee and some paper cups. He set up on his usual corner, but something was different. Now, when someone gave him money, he poured them a cup of coffee and offered a genuine smile. "Have a great day," he said to each person, letting warmth fill his words. The change was immediate. People slowed their hurried steps, drawn in by the aroma of fresh coffee and the unexpected kindness. Smiles were exchanged, conversations started, and Jake felt the invisible walls separating him from the world begin to crumble. Some patrons brought him sugar packets, others came with donuts or extra cups. For the first time in a long while, Jake felt seen, not as a beggar, but as someone making a small difference. With each interaction, something inside Jake shifted. He no longer viewed himself through the narrow lens of his circumstances. Instead, he saw himself as a server, a contributor, someone who brought a moment of comfort to people's mornings. His jar filled more quickly than ever, not just with money, but with gratitude and connection. One cold afternoon, the woman returned, her eyes bright at the sight of Jake's improvised coffee stand. Jake poured her a cup of coffee and handed it to her with a smile. She grinned. "Looks like you're running your own little coffee business." Her words lit a spark within him, a new sense of purpose and pride. That night, Jake pulled out an old notebook and wrote, "I'm a business owner." Months passed, and the transformation continued. Jake was no longer sitting on a street corner. He had saved enough to rent a small coffee cart near the train station. Proudly displaying a sign, "Coffee with a Smile," commuters became regulars, stopping by not just for caffeine, but for the familiar warmth Jake radiated every morning. His story traveled through the neighborhood, and the simple act of giving, a smile, a cup of coffee, became a beacon of hope. The heart of Jake's journey is a powerful lesson. The moment you change how you see yourself, the world follows suit. By giving what little he could, a smile, a cup of coffee, Jake transformed not only his own life, but the lives of those around him. The smallest act of generosity can ripple outward, bringing connection, respect, and opportunity. When you start giving, no matter how small, you invite the world to give back, and sometimes that's all it takes for everything to change.